guys, it's been a while since I've done a video. Been doing quite a bit of work on the car, so I thought I'd give you an update on some of the work I've done to the car while it's sort of semi-laid up over the winter, and an issue that I had on the car for a couple of days with some quite bad engine misfiring, and how sometimes you can overlook the simple things and go down the rabbit holes of more complicated stuff. So at the back of the car, I upgraded the bulbs not long after getting the car, all the exterior bulbs to LEDs, but inside some of the bulb holders, both sides, just continually getting loose connections from them, and they were quite old and crusty inside, and it was quite a struggle to try and work out how to clean them. So I replaced them. So I ordered up new bulb holders for both sides, stop and tail lights, cut the old ones out and soldered the new ones into the loom, and the ones here that I use for the indicators and the reverse lights, again the same this side. They were quite crusty on the outside just from previous overspray from the splatter paint. I masked all this up when I re-splatter painted it, but obviously hadn't been done previously. So all I did with these ones, just rubbed them down, masked everything up, took them out and just painted them with satin black just to tidy them up, so it looks better than a load of overspray. So yeah, pleased to say I've got no more loose connections in the lights, which is really annoying, because just little things like slamming the boot. Next time you turn your lights on, you had one of the bulbs out, so it was just really annoying. Rear axle oil seal, driver's side, that was leaking, so I put that into a garage just up the road so I could get it up on the ramp and do that job rather than laying around underneath. So yeah, rear axle oil seal was done. I've got new wheel bearings as well, but the wheel bearings that were in the car have done no mileage, so on inspection we just left those in there. So yeah, so that's rear axle oil seal. Obviously dropped the diff out, new diff cover, new gear oil, and LSD additive. While it was in the garage, I had an inlet manifold leaking on the driver's side here, so I had them do that while it was in as well. So that's had the new sort of metal style Velcro gaskets put in now, so, and that's made a big difference to the cold starts of the car. Yeah, so for starting, I mean, it would take a few cranks to get it started from cold, but since the gaskets have been done, it starts probably 4 or 5 cranks now. Even if you leave the car for a week, it starts pretty much straight up, so that's made a big difference to the car and throttle response and stuff like that. Other job that I've done, my power steering pump. I know in an earlier video I'd replaced the high pressure hose because it had a leak, and I thought that was what was causing the whining, possible wear into the system, but over time it's got steadily worse. And the pump on this one, 1970, is a 1 year only pump. So what I've done is I've stripped the pump out and I send it off for refurbishing. So yeah, that came back this week. So I've got the pump on, flushed all the steering box out with fresh fluid. I mean, I've flushed probably a good couple of litres for it, a bit over the top, but it's flushed everything through. So yeah, that's all back on. Got it bled. Now a bit of a nightmare to bleed these. I did it with the front wheels off the ground, lock to lock, and then gave it a bit of a drive. And the steering, yeah, it's noticeably different. It's a lot tighter on driving. So yeah, the pump was definitely in need of some work. I wanted to keep the original pump if I could. I know they do replacement pumps for these, but they look slightly different. So the only other thing I've got to do is the cap feels a bit loose, so I've got a couple of bits on order, so I've ordered up a new cap as well. But yeah, that's a big job done. So I've just been down there with brake cleaner, cleaning all the old spillages of oil. While I had the pump off, I spent quite a bit of time repainting some of the brackets, taking a lot of the bolts out, all these sort of bolts. There's some like aluminium, or yeah, I think they're alley sort of style spacers. So I cleaned all those up on the wire wheel. Literally all the bolts here, brackets, stuff like that. Took this bracket off, painted it, polished the bolt up. I also did a full coolant flush. I had a bit of an issue after the inlet manifold gasket was done, trying to get that heater core to cylinder head hose to seal. And I was trying to use the original tower clamps, but I just could not get the thing to seal. Eventually I did it with a little bit of Permatex, the former gasket stuff. This stuff's brilliant. Just a liberal smearing on both sides of the surface you want to make, and then yeah, let it tack up for 10-15 minutes. And I've had to put a proper sort of Jubilee clip on the back there to get it to seal up, which is annoying because everything else is a proper tower clamps, but you don't really see it. And for me, I'd rather it not leak than have an original clamp. So yeah, what I also did was power flush the radiator. So I took the top and bottom hoses off, and I bought this tool here. So you plug one end into your garden hose, the other end into a compressor, and then you get high pressure water. And I say, flushed all the radiator out with the hoses off, through the hoses, down the filler neck, gave that a real good clean. I didn't do it through the block. I didn't want to put, probably it'd been all right, but I didn't want to put too much pressure through the heater core. So I just gently rinsed that out with a hose, and then backfilled it with some ionised water and antifreeze. So I used the 2-year stuff, which is blue for classic cars, and I will change it every 2 years. And while I was at it, I put a new top hose in. The other one was alright, but it was just marked and looked a bit tatty, so I thought I'd change that. The bottom hose isn't too bad. It's got the spring in it as well, but I have got a new bottom hose if I need one. So, and I've kept the original top hose as a spare. It's always handy to have spares in case. But I did, with this, fit all the original style tower clamps, and I've got them to seal nicely, touch wood. And I did see a little sort of tip online. So I know these things, as I found out the first couple of times I tried to use them, you tighten them up and the whole body of the clamp tends to twist and you can't get them to seal. And a little tip I found online was to actually put like a spanner or adjustable spanners or something there to hold the body of it while you're tightening it up, so it stops that twisting action. So yeah, it's all got new clamps on it down there, and yeah, touch wood, they've all held up. So yeah, general servicing. I had to put a new temperature sender switch in when it came back from having the induction inlet manifold gaskets done, because that, for some reason, it just started leaking through the top where the plastic is and the little connector. So I ordered up a new one of those, but then that made this one look quite old, so I brassoed that with some wire wool just to clean that up. I also changed the oil and filter. I'd noticed the oil had got a bit black quite quickly after doing the last oil change, so what I did is I warmed it up, dropped the oil out, changed the filter. I used some flushing oil, not any flushing additives, so just put 5 quarts of flushing oil in it, warmed it up, used a cheapy filter, drained all that out, then filled it with some cheap engine oil, changed the filter again to a cheapy one, warmed it up, drained it all out again, and then put me decent engine oil in, and a decent filter, one of the AC ones. So yeah, just general servicing jobs while it's yeah, not going to get a lot of use over the winter. And what I had last couple of days, I had a fault come up with the engine. Just started quite badly misfiring, not running on all 8 cylinders, and out of nowhere, because I've had the car started up quite a bit for oil changes, coolant changes, various other bits of work I've been doing. And for me, it's quite a valuable lesson in sort of not overlooking the obvious stuff sometimes. So I'm thinking, right, what can it be? It's just literally one day it started fine, the next day it didn't. I know I've done quite a bit to the ignition on the car with new coil, flamethrower coil, and rewiring it, and it's got the Petronics igniter in there. So yeah, you end up, sometimes you can end up going down the rabbit holes of, oh, is it distributor? I had the distributor apart, I'd swapped the coil to see if it was a dodgy coil. Nothing made a difference to it. I put some carb cleaner down it, checked all my choke flap on the carb, make sure it wasn't flooding itself. It was low on fuel. Well, I've been doing quite a bit of work in the garage, just idling and stuff like that. It was quite low on fuel. So I took it up the garage last night and literally brimmed it. But again, I thought, well, has it sucked a bit of crap up from the tank because the fuel's low? But sometimes you can overlook the obvious. So once I'd stopped getting stressed out last night, I'm thinking it definitely feels more ignition rather than fuel. So I fired it up again. I got it warmed up, and with my heat gun, I thought it's definitely not firing on all 8. So with my heat gun, I went round each spark plug area, seeing what the temperature was, and the front 2 cylinders were like 100 degrees or whatever it was, lower temperature. So straight away I knew that those 2 cylinders weren't firing. So I checked the spark plug wires, they were working, so it wasn't a distributor issue. So I'm thinking, can only be plugs. So I pulled the plugs out, and they're fouled really badly, fouled to the point that they're not firing. And now it makes sense. All the work I've done to the car the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's been idling a lot of time. It hasn't been used because the power steering pump's been off for refurb. But I say all the idling has obviously just gummed the plugs up. So for me, it is a valuable lesson. You think, oh, something major or something, and you start going down these roads where it's something to do with the distributor, or for me, it's just a good lesson. Do you know what? Go back to basics first. Check the basic things. Spark plugs, if they're dirty, are not going to fire. And guess what? Cleaned all the spark plugs up last night, fired the engine up, runs as sweet as a nut. So yeah, no more sitting in here idling it while I'm doing work. I'm hoping the weather's going to be nice today, and I'll take it out and give it a good run. But yeah, valuable lesson for me. Couple of days wasted stripping coils and distributors out when I overlooked the obvious. I mean, I'm not a mechanic by any means, I'm just sort of more of a home tinkerer. What I did notice when I pulled a couple of the wires off, now I had put some dielectric grease on them a few weeks back to so the boots don't stick to the plugs. But there's a couple of plugs, the ends come off, so I've had to re-crimp them. So what I've decided to do, I've ordered up the correct set, as these ones are, the Packard date stamped 1970 plug wire leads. So I'm ordering a full set of leads, having the cap off, the connections in there, they're not corroded, but they are quite crusty. So I've ordered up a new distributor cap, I've ordered up a new rotor arm, all my plugs are cleaned. So yeah, that's where I am with the car at the moment. So yeah, a couple of days messing around trying to find a problem, and it was something simple. So now, yeah, 2 days spent hating the car. Now I'm in love with it again. Got my power steering sorted. It's all looking nice under the engine bay. So I'm just hoping the weather will be nice at some point today, or not. Tomorrow I'm off, and I can go and give her a good run. Got a full tank of fuel now. So yeah, I can get some mileage on it tomorrow, hopefully. So yeah, Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I've got quite a few new parts on order from the States, so as and when they come, and I've got some stuff on order with Santa. So over Christmas at some point I'll be putting some more new parts on the car, so I'll do some update videos and yeah, show you what I'm doing. But yeah, thanks for now, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.